Hi, my name is Shadi Atia, professor at Liège University in Belgium, and today I would like to share with you some advices regarding meeting scheduling or booking meetings. Well, this presentation is part of a playlist on professional skills, and the audience of this presentation are professionals who are planning for a meeting with somebody they know or people or somebody they will meet for the first time. Well, the content of today's presentation is how to establish first the contact with the people, with the person, and then how to schedule the meeting, and finally how to send the meeting invite. Well, in order to establish a contact, you have to learn that there are several ways to establish contact, whether they are email, phone, or LinkedIn in a professional setting. Normally, you have to look at sending an email to the person, or you can send a short message on LinkedIn seeking to continue the communication via email. Also, you can have a phone call with very important message. What is this meeting about and who you are? So a call to set up a meeting is a good idea. When can I expect that a meeting can take place? This is very important and it depends on the situation. Normally you should plan ahead the meeting at least 2 to 3 weeks. In standardized countries, you have to expect that people have a very busy schedule and they will try to find a moment on a timed short, long-term plan, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Also, you have to avoid holidays, seasons, and busy periods. Keep into account that countries in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere, each of these countries, depending on their location, they will have a holiday season, and you must avoid these days when there is holiday. Let's say in Europe, for example, summer is July, August. It's very difficult to establish or have a meeting in this period because most people are on holidays. That's not the best time to meet people. If you are in the southern hemisphere, countries like Chile, Australia, for example, you will find that they have holidays in February or in March. So you have always to be sensitive to the holiday season in every country. Also ask the contact person and don't stalk them. This is very important remark. If you find somebody that you want to contact for the first time, active on social media or on LinkedIn, it's not a good practice to stalk people on their personal account, because some people are on holiday but they are still checking their LinkedIn account or their Facebook account. So it's not polite to do something like that, checking the people and then saying, I saw you active on LinkedIn, you are not answering my emails, or sending an email and not respecting the auto reply message that they say they are on holiday or vacation. So try to send the emails during holidays, during weekends. When you receive auto replies, you have to wait until the auto reply answer is stopped, and don't go fetch people on LinkedIn or on social media and then insist on having a meeting. You have to respect the privacy of others. Now, once you have the first contact and the person gave you the green light to have a contact, you can have now the second step, which is scheduling the meeting. Use an online meeting schedule tool. For example, there is tools available like Doodle Poll, for example. They are easy to fix, to have a common date to fix. They allow for several participants to find a common time. Maybe the meeting is with several stakeholders or actors. It allows you to visualize and synchronize the meeting time with your personal agenda. And how to use such interfaces like platforms like Doodle. You can just create an event with certain parameters that you have to define. Choose the options for the date, choose the setting for your poll, and enter your name and email address, and you can also send an invitation link to the participant. So this is how it works. It looks like this simple interface. You fill up the information and then from there on you can define the poll settings, and don't forget to turn on the reminders so that the poll automatically will keep reminding the invited person to reply and select the time slot that are available. Now, how can I schedule a meeting in such a tool? Simply take time, plan 2 to 3 weeks before the expected meeting date, ask the participants to fill at least 3 to 5 slots in your suggested meeting time slots, send weekly reminders only to those who did not reply. Those who replied the poll and filled up their availability, they should not be reminded. And for sure, if somebody is not picking up or not following and not filling up the poll, you can give them a phone call. And this is how it looks, a kind of options time slots. You can see the days and the different hours, and people will receive an invitation with these different options, and then they say, I select this option or I don't select it, and then you can see the availability of all of the attendees. Now, how to propose a time slot actually, this also requires expertise. To propose a time slot, it's always recommended to take time slots between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock a.m. or 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock afternoon. For international meetings, let's say you are based in Europe, try to have something between, if you have a meeting between Australia and the west coast of the United States, for example, it will be always in the afternoon between 4 to 6 if you have an international meeting, depending on where is your location. But always try to find meeting moments if you are having international meetings that are suitable for most of the participants. Exceptions can be made for meeting times like at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. This depends, you need to have a green light from participants, or during lunchtime, which is most of the time between 12 to 2 a.m. And between and 2 p.m. and also in the later the day after 4 or 5 o'clock. So this is very important. Avoid these time slots unless you have a green light from participant. Spread the choices at least for 2 weeks. Don't make a doodle poll for only 3 days. No, spread it on 2 weeks. If better, maybe 3 weeks if it's an important meeting. At least try to define 3 time slots per week and make sure that there is a variation in the scheduling. And also you can ask the participant in advance if they have a preference or if they have a specific time slot, they can be available, or specific dates, so that when you design your schedule and your time slot setting, you are already avoiding a lot of unanswered time slots. So this is how it looks. You go into the doodle poll, you fill it up, and finally after you finished, you will have a link that is having all these options, and now you share this link with your participants and ask them to fill up their availability or the moment of availability. Now comes the last part of this scheduling meeting presentation, how to send a meeting invite. Now a meeting invite is something very important because you have to share the date that is fixed. Finally, you have a fixed date. So choose a date in function of the poll results. As soon as you have an overlap, once you find an overlap, don't wait if there was a deadline that everybody has to fill, let's say the poll, and people reacted before the deadline, and you find a common time slot, directly shoot and send an email and ask people to have a placeholder and fix it in their agenda. Because many people, they wait till the deadline, and already when they come to the deadline, they come also some days later on, and they start to share the fixed date. It's already late, because the agenda of busy people is always moving. So once you have an overlap, communicate it, fix it, and based on that, you can assure that you will have the meeting as soon as possible. Participants often use in their own professional life Google Calendar or Google Agenda, Outlook Agenda, or others. Try to link the invitation to that. How to do that? You need to have an ICS file. Well, what is an ICS file? It's a universal calendar file, and an ICS file will enable your event to appear on all participants' calendar, and you will need to attach this ICS file in your invitation email. Now, how to create the ICS file? If you are in Google Agenda, you can go to the left side of the page, My Calendar section, and point to the calendar you want to export, and simply click on More, and from there you will find the option Calendar Settings. Click on the Export option, and then you will have a file, ICS file format, downloaded. Take the file and attach it in your email. If you are using Outlook, you can open Outlook, create the calendar item. After fixing the date, choose the file, save it as a calendar, iCalendar format, ICS, and finally you can click and save, and again you have a file. Now I have the calendar file, it's ready with me, the date is fixed. After doing my doodle poll, I need to send the invite. What should I do? I have to attach the ICS file in my email. That's the first thing to do. I have to write the meeting, purpose, agenda, time, and venue. Very important. Always the purpose of the meeting, the agenda, the time, and the venue, to make sure that things are straightforward. Also get the location of the meeting already, all the requirements before. If you have to book a meeting venue, book it in advance. Make sure that you visit the venue, make sure it can host the people. If you're having an online meeting, make sure that the platform that you will use is accessible. It's all participants can be able to download it. Do they access it, the meeting, through a smartphone or through a PC and so on? All that need to be fixed. If it's a physical meeting, you must give the physical address of the venue, and you must also provide a GPS coordinate, and I also advise you to use the What's 3 word coordinates. What's 3 word coordinates is it's a new platform that allows you to have a precision of the venue up to 3 by 3 meter precision. So you can locate the place or the venue only by 3 words, and anybody can use the app and locate the meeting venue now without getting lost, because one of the biggest problems with meeting venues that people get lost, especially when they go to places that are new and the addresses system is not enough accurately. So this What 3 words platform or application allows you to have a precision up to 3 meter by 3 meters. So you can even locate the office in the building where the meeting will take place. So this is very important. Also provide a Google Maps link. That's a very important one, and make sure that the building and the room location are defined specifically with an address, and also don't forget to share the parking options. People, when you invite people to your place as a sign of generosity, you have to think how they will live and what they will experience until they come to you. Those people invested time and effort to come to a meeting. Make sure at least that you provide the essential information for them, so always make sure to share information about parking, how they can access it, to make sure that there is a smooth and easy visit and meeting. Also, virtual attendees, in this sense, you have to tell them in advance what software are you going to use. Are you going to use Skype, Google Meets, LiveSize, Zoom, whatever software you use, but you need to tell them that in advance and send them the link to the meeting room in advance, because many people will suffer with installing or accessing. And as you know, TeamViewer, these different software like that are recently popping up, they sometimes require you to download the software or watch it online, so it's complicated. So all that needs to be in the invitation already settled in advance, so that you avoid any delays starting your work. Provide always a GCM number, a mobile number must be available for the contact person, whether if you are doing the invitation or somebody who is the contact person in case of emergency, in case of somebody is unable to find the parking, not finding the place. There must be always in the invitation a mobile number, not only an office number, because if you put an office number, simply the people will not answer because they will be in the meeting. So this is also important. Your invitation now is ready. You can launch it, you can send it, but make sure that all these details are embedded in your body of email. Now, once you send the invite, make sure that you track it. When you send a calendar invite, people will receive an invitation that asks them to accept or decline the invitation. And based on this decision, if they accept it, it will be automatically saved in their agenda. So what you need to do here is to track the invite. Make sure that the meeting placeholder is accepted. And you have to block the placeholder date as soon as possible, like I told you before. Once you find a meeting, an overlap in the poll, in the doodle poll, send an email with the placeholder so that the people fix it in their agenda, because otherwise, when you are too late, they will tell you already, I gave you my time availability, but I was booked already with another meeting. So make it sure that the placeholder, as soon as possible, is booked. And then later on, if you need to complete the placeholder date and later the details, you can do that after already booking the date. So you can add information on the venue, on the meeting place, and so on and so on. If you do not have this meeting from the beginning, don't let these details block you from having a placeholder for the meeting. The meeting has to be firmly accepted by participants, so make sure that they are accepted. If there is still a meeting invite that is not accepted, you need to send a reminder, and sometimes you can ask your calendar, Google Calendar or Outlook or any other calendar, to keep reminding people. So in this sense, you are responsible to follow, control, and validate. Always follow, control, and validate. And don't expect that people will be all perfectly accepting the invitation. Now I'm going to the end of the presentation on scheduling meetings. What are the takeaway message? Number one, in order to have a successful meeting and schedule a successful meeting, you need to plan it. Get in contact with the people, define the purpose, make sure first that they are aware and interested to meeting you, whether it's a personal meeting or a group meeting. After that, you have to prepare for the meeting in a professional way. Plan it in advance. Don't expect to have a meeting tomorrow. You know, you are in a standard, if you are living in a standardized country, it's very difficult to have a meeting without preparation. So You cannot come in a holiday season and ask people to meet you. You cannot tell people, I am in an emergency, I have to meet you tomorrow or next week. It doesn't work like that. You have to plan ahead the meetings and book the agenda of others beforehand. So plan your meeting. Understand the Google and Outlook events calendar very good, so that you can be able to extract the ICS files and that you can trace who accepted the invitation and who did not. Follow up, control, and validate the booking. Very important. Whether you follow up, control, and validate the doodle poll, that's the first stage. Whether you follow up, control, and validate the calendar invitation, those are two crucial tasks that you have to keep on your agenda. After that, transform this video into a checklist. You can use all what I said today into a checklist, and in the future when you start to schedule meeting or book meeting, you can use what was said here as a checklist. So this is another advice. And for sure, you must to build up your credibility through past performance. People, when they are invited one time by you and they find you sharing the agenda, the location, the size of the room is well booked, you are giving information on the parking, if there is food or not, and so on. If you are doing that in a professional way, people will like to meet you in the future, and they will trust your organization ability for meeting. And for sure, one of the worst things that you can do, that you cancel a meeting in the last minute without reason. If many people do this cancellation process, it shows a lack of maturity. So also try to avoid canceling meeting as long you planned the meeting from the beginning. By that, I end up my presentation. This presentation was on scheduling meetings in the context of a playlist on professional skills. I invite you, if you are interested, to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with others. And by that, I would like to end up my presentation. Thank you very much, and good luck with scheduling your future meetings. Have a good day.